Benjamin. It is an absolute pleasure having you here performing for the Limerick Jazz Festival 24.
Well, thank you so much. It's just been a delight to be here and interact with all of the great musicians that the festival brings and to meet the wonderful volunteers who run the festival. I've had such a good time both performing for the audiences but also just hearing the wonderful music that's being made and meeting such friendly, wonderful people.
That's great. Benjamin, you've collaborated with many well-known artists over the years. Tell me, how did that collaboration with John Daly, Joe Callahan, Dan Bodwell, Rory Murphy and Jane come about?
Yes, well, I was here as a U.S. Fulbright Scholar in academic year 22-23, working with at the University of Limerick's Irish World Academy of Music. And so I got to know a lot of the musicians there, and it seems to be a place that tons of people come through, and so I got to know lots of world musicians being there, and what a wonderful curriculum they have. We could talk about that another time maybe, but I knew that John Daly and the Limerick Jazz Festival would be my connection to jazz musicians, and so I went to the Limerick Jazz Festival in 22, and I was absolutely blown away. That was your anniversary season, and I was blown away by the musicians here, and I met some of the musicians there, and I tagged in my mind, wow, I need to follow up on this. So very gratefully, I had lunch with John. John was enthusiastic, and he actually introduced me to all of the musicians that you just named, and was instrumental, pun intended, instrumental in us getting together, workshopping the pieces. All of the compositions on my latest album are really a collaborative effort, and get it together to record. He even set me up with the recording studio, and introduced me to Ben Wanders at Wonderland. So everything happened because John Daly was excited about the project, and I've just had a glorious, wonderful time.
It is so great to hear. Could you tell me more about the creation process behind your last album, Confluence?
Sure. So when I was here, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to try and compose music here that's based on my experiences in Ireland? And so, for example, the Irish World Academy of Music is on the Shannon River, and the room that I used where I composed there overlooked the Shannon River, and I also lived up on North Circular Road, a very quick walk down to the river, and going into town I'd always cross it, right? And I just came to fall in love with that river. There's something mysterious about it, and there are different ecosystems, and you see different birds and different flows of water, and the tide fluctuates so absolutely much. It just seems almost to be a living thing in and of itself. And I live in Fresno, California, which is between San Francisco and Los Angeles, but inland. And so that's a desert. It's one of the largest valleys. It's like a 500-mile long valley. But it really doesn't rain very much. It's very arid. The rivers are all diverted to agriculture, basically, unfortunately. And so being around that water is just really important and special to me. So I composed the opening track on the banks of the Shannon. And then there's a wonderful, I love this track because I fell in love with the game of hurling, which is an absolute crazy game that has the most athleticism, endurance, finesse, speed, agility, all of the above, and craziness of any sport that I've ever witnessed in my life. And so I tried to write a tune that captured all of what I just described, and it's called The Clash of the Ash. I have a neighbor named Margaret Walsh and Margaret and Mick across the street, who were sort of angels to us. My wife was in an accident, and they really came to our rescue and befriended us. And so when I'd have dinner at Margaret's house, the glass would never be empty. And we celebrated some New Year's parties and Christmas parties. And so I called that tune, which is sort of an inebriated experience, Another Round at Margaret's. So I could go on and on and on with Irish traditional song, but the entire album is based on my experiences here in Limerick.
You actually anticipated my next question about those two pieces, but let me ask you about about the elements, the traditional Irish elements in Confluence, like She Moved Through the Fair. How do you approach blending jazz with Irish musical traditions?
Well, that's a wonderful question. It's something that you need, I think, anyone that's an outsider, you know, I'm a blow-in, and I need to approach it with respect and understanding, right? So that was one of the things I was trying to figure out when I first came here. How do I, first of all, understand the music, at least on some cursory level, and then how do I take that and I can't be a true trad player or a true anything because I haven't lived it, right? But I can take those experiences and then process it through my lens and do my own thing with it, right? Not trying to imitate. So one thing I really fell in love with were the ancient Irish songs. To me, they're immeasurably touching and poignant, and the inflections and ornamentations used by the singers touched me too. So one of the tunes that I was unaware of and got to know and love is She Moved Through the Fair. And to me, anyway, it's this mysterious story that bridges like the existence here on earth and something else, and it's this almost I can't think of the word, but it's like you're in between and you're fluctuating between them. And so I was thinking, how could I set it in a unique way? I know that people from Led Zeppelin to Sinead O'Connor to Wayne Shorter, on and on and on, have recorded it. So the way I approached it was, how do I give that otherworldliness feeling to it? And I did it through using extended harmonies, so that the melody note wouldn't be really in the basic chord, but would be in what musicians would call an extension or an upper overtone or partial or something like that. So it's my favorite track on the album, quite frankly, because it touches me here. Others touch me in other places, but that particular track touches me here, and I was so happy.
You can hear that.
Oh yeah, and Jane Fraser, known as Jane, Jayne, I collaborated with her on several tunes, and this is one that I had her sing as well, and I'm just really happy with that track.
How do you envision your music evolving after Confluence?
Wow, that's a really wonderful question. I started off in jazz, playing bebop music and that type of thing, and then some really wonderful things happened with my classical compositions, and so 30 years of my life basically was dedicated to being a classical composer, orchestral stuff, chamber stuff, etc., etc., etc. And the last 10 years, it's, I want to go back and do the jazz thing. And so I did some work with some poets that I'm really happy about, and there were some instrumental things that happened there. And then when I lived in Ghana, in 1718 as a U.S. Fulbright Scholar, I made an album, the first real instrumental album I'd ever made with the Ghana Jazz Collective, and that was an amazing experience. So that's what I wanted to do here, and I'm just, it's almost like I feel a confidence in my instrumental composition, and I'm starting to feel more confident in my playing instrumental things, being the featured instrument. And so, I think I need to sit back after this and imagine what I want to do, but I can tell you that while I was here, I knew if I was coming to play at the Jazz Festival, I wanted to work with this crew of people before us. So we rented a studio for 4 days. I composed another album's worth of material, and so that's going to be coming out next year, and I'm really happy that the president, who's a poet, your president, ended up agreeing for us to use one of his poems and use his narration of one of his poems on it. So his poem, Take Care, will be on the next album. So I can't answer the question, but I'm excited to learn the answer.
And we hope all the best, and we wish you all the best for that. Now, very lastly, I would like to ask you, what's your favorite aspect of live interaction with the audience, especially your impressions on playing here for Irish audience and for Limerick Jazz Festival?
Well, I have to say it was a little bit terrifying for as an American, performing music about Ireland, I think, is a touchy thing, and it can go the wrong way. And I'm really pleased that it seems like it really resonates, has resonated with the audience. And I composed a song that's on our next album called A Soft Rain, and people seem to really enjoy and feel that experience in them. So the Irish audiences around, in Dublin and Galway and Cork, etc., have just been so open and so accepting and so engaged. And I think what I'm getting from it is that if you come and approach the concert and the music making in a genuine, heartfelt way, that is what really resonates with the Irish audiences, not a hyper intellectual technical approach. And I think that's really refreshing to me.
Benjamin, you struck another chord, and I need to ask you about that soft rain thing, because
please.
Can you tell us more about the your soft rain experience?
Yes, and so when I was, like I said, I come from Fresno, California. It was 46 degrees when I left to come here this time, right? We get very, very little rain. I did grow up on the East Coast, but where it does rain, but it's not like rain has been in my experience the past 25 years very much, right? So I thought that I was prepared, and I wasn't prepared, and so I got drenched several times unexpectedly. And so I was walking back from downtown Limerick, crossing the Shannon River it was definitely a consistent rain, and I was unprepared, so I was sopping wet, I was cold, I was shivering, I was walking up the hill, and one of my neighbors came down, and the first thing they said to me as I'm freezing like this is, "Oh, what a lovely day," right? And I was thinking to myself, oh my, is it a lovely day? Not for me right now, right? But this is about something I love about the Irish. It's like a positive attitude about things, right? So anyway, I said, "Oh yes, it is." And he said, "Oh, I just love it when we have a soft rain."
And this is how soft.
And so I thought to myself, okay, well, this really is a soft rain. So if I would get out of my sort of egocentric, self-involved perspective and look at this is a beautiful rain. It's barely coming down. You can see the little wisps and the little curtains coming down. It is very gentle. I was just unprepared. And what a wonderful attitude to have.
It turned into a beautiful, wonderful composition.
Oh, I thank you for that. And I tried to capture the beauty of it, right? Because it really is beautiful. And then there are, in Ireland, so many different types of rain. And then you have several different types of wind, etc., etc. So it's just giving me maybe a deeper perspective and appreciation for things.
Benjamin, thank you so much. Pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. I'd love to come back.
Please do. Please do. Thank you so much.
Was that